A convicted serial killer in New Jersey is sentenced to 160 years in prison. Khalil Wheeler Weaver of Orange learned his fate yesterday. He was convicted in 2019 of murdering 3 women and trying to kill another. Prosecutors say he used dating apps to lure the women and then strangled them. He was caught after friends of one of the victims used fake social media accounts to lure him to police.
Every single day, millions of people open a dating app. They fill out a profile, upload a photo, and start swiping. For most people, it's harmless. Maybe it leads to a bad date. Maybe it leads to something real. But for a small number of people, mostly women, that one decision, that one match, that one message that seemed completely normal became the last choice they ever made. We live in a world where meeting strangers online has become so common that we've stopped questioning it. We share our names, our faces, sometimes even our locations with people we have never met because the app makes it feel safe, because everyone else is doing it, because the person on the other side of the screen seems friendly, seems interested, seems like a real connection. But what happens when the person on the other side of that screen is not who they say they are? What happens when they've been doing this over and over again, not looking for a date, but looking for a victim?
A 23-year-old serial killer was convicted in Essex County, New Jersey. He murdered at least 3 women and nearly killed another woman. The jury convicted 23-year-old Khalil Wheeler Weaver of Orange on all 11 charges, including murder, attempted murder, and kidnapping. He killed 33-year-old Joanne Brown, 19-year-old Robin West, and 20-year-old Sarah Butler after connecting them using a social app.
In 2016, in Orange, New Jersey, a young man was doing exactly that. He had a job. He had a routine. He looked, by every outward measure, like an ordinary person. He was using a social networking and dating platform called Tagged, creating profiles, sending messages, setting up meetings. And between August and November that same year, 3 women were murdered. 1 woman survived, and when she tried to tell the police what happened to her, they did not believe her. His name is Khalil Wheeler Weaver. He was 20 years old when he started killing. He was a security guard, someone paid to protect people, and he used that ordinary, unremarkable life as a cover while he hunted. 3 families lost someone they loved. 1 woman had to fight her way out with nothing but her own quick thinking. And the people who finally brought this man to justice were not law enforcement. They were a group of grieving friends and family members who refused to let Sarah Butler become just another unsolved case. This is their story. This is the story of Robin West, Joanne Brown, Sarah Butler, and Tiffany Taylor. And before we go any further, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment right now and tell me, have you ever had a conversation online that made something feel off? Did you trust that feeling? Talk to me in the comments. And if you are watching this for the first time, hit subscribe, because we tell these stories so the people at the center of them are never forgotten.
And he kept his very tight black gloves on the entire time. He went inside, he bought some iced tea and 3 condoms, came back outside, and they drove away. From the 7-Eleven, his cell phone tracked them to Eagle Rock Reservation.
With the exception of reporters, lawyers, sheriff's officers, and the judge, there was no one in the courtroom to hear Khalil Wheeler Weaver's mumbled not guilty plea this morning. No family members of the teenage victim he's now charged with killing in October of 2016. The body of 15-year-old Mawa Dumbia of Newark was found almost 3 years later, but only identified last November. She was the 4th victim of the serial killer who authorities say lured his victims to him through dating apps and sometimes a promise of money for sex, and then strangled them.
That monster should never see daylight again.
Family members of the other victims were there when Wheeler Weaver was sentenced to 160 years in prison for the murders of 3 women when he went on a killing spree in the fall of 2016. College student Sarah Butler of Montclair, 19-year-old Robin West of Philadelphia, and 33-year-old Joanne Brown of Newark. Sophia was a friend.
Joanne was fellowshipping with Christian Love. She had changed her life doing community service, spending her time flowering with us, being an aunt to my daughter, being a sister to a group of friends.
The arraignment lasted all of 3.5 minutes. Wheeler Weaver won't be eligible for parole for another 145 years. Sophia Merritt says she always thought that serial killers presented as monsters, like Freddy Krueger, not like this.
What could he have ever gone through that would give him such a dislike to his own sister? I can't even imagine. I can't. I pray that God ministers to his heart, but I want justice. I don't want him to have a moment of peace. All the women that he harmed and hurt, he should pay for.
As they did in some of the previous cases, prosecutors say they had found a lot of digital evidence that Wheeler Weaver had contacted the 15-year-old online. He's expected back here in court in January. In Newark, Pat Battle, News 4, New York.
Technology, you know how it is. It's about to be 2020. Like, common sense. I don't understand. I don't even understand how some of the stupid things that he did. It's like he wanted to get caught. I was in the car, I had one handcuff on. I could have easily just put it around him and pushed with my foot and tried to rip his head off. I could have. That was plan B anyway. I really hate that guy. I really do. I feel like he still has control over me because I'm different. I'm not who I feel like he still won because I'm not the same person I used to be. I'm tired of hiding.
So the suspects say they are surprised.
Sir, surprise is a loose word. I'm flabbergasted beyond belief.
Why you do that? State versus Khalil Wheeler Weaver.
A security guard at a ShopRite in Union Township said nothing in Judge Wigler's courtroom as he was indicted.
Enter a plea of not guilty on all charges.
He was first picked up by authorities in early December.
Today we arraigned Mr. Wheeler Weaver on the indictment charging him with 3 murders and 1 attempted murder. And he entered his plea of not guilty. We scheduled a court date in May to continue the process and move forward towards a trial.
2-547. As to count 1, charging the defendant with the murder of Robin West, what is your verdict?
Guilty.
As to count 2, charging the defendant with desecrating human remains of Robin West, what is your verdict?
Guilty.
As to count 3, charging the defendant with aggravated arson, what is your verdict?
Guilty.
As to count 6, charging the defendant with kidnapping of, what is your verdict?
Guilty.
As to count 7, charging the defendant with attempted murder of, what is your verdict?
Guilty.
As to count 8, charging the defendant with aggravated sexual assault while committing another crime, what is your verdict?
Guilty.
I think it was great. It was a good win for everybody who had lost a loved one and so forth. And what puzzled me so bad, he didn't even show any, remorse. He just sat there like it was, I don't know. He's very strange, very strange. But I'm glad that they came up with their verdict, and yeah, I'm very, very pleased with it. She gonna always be gone from us, birthdays, holidays, but this is some closure. Yes, I would have to say so.
Saying that he still didn't do it makes me feel like he has no type of remorse about it at all. Like he hasn't even shedded a tear about anything. So he's not sorry at all about what he did, and I'm over 100% sure it was him. He told me who he was.
It's 160 years, 145 years of parole ineligibility. The purpose of the sentence, again, is that this defendant never walk among society again.
By the time Khalil Wheeler Weaver was arrested, he had taken 3 lives, attempted to take a 4th, and left 5 families permanently changed. And the arrest did not come from a breakthrough in the investigation. It came from Sarah Butler's own people, her family, her friends, people who were drowning in grief but still found the strength to act. They took over her social media accounts. They created a profile. They set up a meeting. And when Wheeler Weaver showed up, expecting another woman to overpower, detectives were waiting for him. Think about what that required. These were not trained investigators. These were mothers, friends, people who loved Sarah and could not accept that the sister was moving too slowly while her killer was still free. They did something extraordinary. and they should never have had to do it. In 2019, a jury convicted Khalil Wheeler Weaver on every single count he faced. 3 counts of murder, desecration of human remains, kidnapping, aggravated sexual assault, attempted murder, aggravated arson. The judge sentenced him to 160 years in prison. He will not be eligible for parole until he has served 140 of those years. He will die behind bars. But here is what the sentencing does not give back. It does not give Robin West's family the version of her life that should have continued past 2016. It does not give Joe and Brown's loved ones the phone calls, the birthdays, the ordinary Tuesday afternoons they lost. It does not give Sarah Butler's mother back the daughter who borrowed her van that night and never returned it. It does not undo what Tiffany Taylor had to survive, and it does not erase the moment when she walked into a police station, told the truth about what had been done to her, and was accused instead of believed. That part of this story deserves to be said clearly. Tiffany Taylor survived. She escaped. She called 911, and she told her story. And the response she received from law enforcement was not support. She was dismissed. She was treated with suspicion, and because of that, Wheeler Weaver remained free long enough to keep killing. That is not a small detail. That is a direct consequence with a body count attached to it. Then in 2022, authorities linked Wheeler Weaver to another murder, a 15-year-old girl named Mawadumbia, whose remains were found in a house in Orange, New Jersey. She was 15 years old. He has since been indicted for her murder. Another name, another family sitting with a grief that has no clean end point. Another reminder that the damage one person can do when they are not stopped in time reaches further than we ever want to accept. So what do we take from all of this? Not fear, because fear without direction helps no one. What we take is clarity. We live in a world where certain people are treated as though their pain is less urgent, their disappearances less alarming, their testimonies less believable. Wheeler Weaver knew that. He counted on it. He chose his victims based on who he believed society would be slow to fight for. And for a time, he was right. That is not a flaw in these women. That is a flaw in the systems that were supposed to protect them. The lesson here is not that dating apps are dangerous. The lesson is that we have to fight equally hard for every person who goes missing, every survivor who comes forward, every family that raises their hand and says something is wrong. Sarah Butler's family proved that ordinary people, armed with love and refusal to give up, can do what institutions sometimes will not. But that should be a last resort, not the only resort. Robin West deserved better. Joe and Brown deserved better. Sarah Butler deserved better. Mawadumbia deserved better. And Tiffany Taylor, who lived through something most people cannot fathom and then was made to feel like the problem. She deserved so much better. Remember their names. Not his. If this story stayed with you, and I believe it did, please share this video. Put it on your page. Send it to someone you care about. Because these women's stories matter, and the more people who know them, the more their lives continue to mean something. Hit the like button if you believe survivors deserve to be believed from the very first moment they speak up. Subscribe if you're new here. We are building a community that takes these stories seriously. And drop a comment below. I want to know, what do you think needs a change so that when a survivor walks into a police station, the very first thing they receive is support, not suspicion? Tell me what you think. I read every single one.